snowplow? That was an airplane.
Thanks for liking and subscribing to Snow Dogs Vlogs.
Let's make all kinds of noise at the beginning of the video. Right. Okay, so we got tagged to do the high school sweethearts tag, which apparently means we were high school sweethearts. Because otherwise we wouldn't have got tagged.
Right.
Otherwise, this tag wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So we have 10 questions we're going to answer for you guys, which I know you guys have been like wanting us to answer all kinds of questions. So here's our first attempt at answering questions, I guess.
We can. I think we can. Should be easy. 10?
If we answer all the questions correctly.
Yeah. No. Can't quite read them when your phone's black.
Hold on, I got this. First question.
First question.
How old were you when you met?
I think,
Do you know? I know. Of course I know.
I think I was 16.
You would have just turned 17. Because your birthday was in August. And we met at the end of August.
Yep.
So
I know I had my driver's license.
Yep.
I may not have had the greatest car when we met. I did have a car before we met, though.
I did too.
Lasted me a whole year.
I had a car.
My first car.
I
So-
was 17.
Yeah.
You
I
were
was 17, so we were.
Yep.
I guess we were 17.
I was almost 18 though.
Right.
Almost. You know, because
Yeah.
back then you were excited to be older.
Right.
Unlike now where you're like, no, I'm not almost 35.
Yeah. No.
27, totally.
Always 27 permanently.
Always the answer. Question 2. What class did you meet in? We didn't technically meet in a class.
Yeah, our first hour was computer science.
Programming. You had computer science first hour. We had second hour together.
So it was
you and
second
Greg.
hour.
For those of you that keep asking, who the heck is Greg?
Greg and I were in the first. we were in a few classes before that, but in our 11th grade we had computer
12th
programming. 12th grade we had computer programming and computer science, and they were back to back. We had computer science first hour, and then we had computer programming second hour.
That was a class that I was in with you.
That was the class that you were in.
And then we had...
That same year, well, because we had actually met a few days, or
Yeah,
maybe
it was literally like
just
a
a couple
before.
days before school started. So we had actually met in class, and I think that's what was the sinker on that ship. Yeah, that we met like 2 days before we started school, and then we ended up being in the same second hour and the same fourth hour, which was also our lunch hour, and that was a journalism class. And I wasn't even, it was journalism 2. I wasn't even going to take that class because I never had journalism 1, but the teacher, she liked me so much that she wanted me in that class. So she said, I want you in that class. And
she
did the same thing for you.
Yeah, I wasn't in journalism 1. I had a friend that was in journalism 1, and I would go into the class a lot, and she did the same thing. She
because you wrote a letter.
I had a friend that passed away.
For the yearbook, she wrote...
I wrote a poem for the yearbook, and I wrote an article for the paper.
For the newspaper, for a friend.
I had a friend that passed away, and she liked my writing so much, she asked me to be in the journalism class.
Yeah, which was really weird because
you're supposed to take 1 before you take 2, but apparently we were just awesome.
And then the bum deal was she didn't even end up teaching that class.
That teacher ended up, something happened that summer.
Health problems or something.
And
I think maybe her husband.
Teacher. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother video.
Let's party! Everybody party!
Shh, can't say that
word. Oh yeah, let's all celebrate.
Yep.
So yeah, it was actually our second hour.
Second and fourth hour.
And fourth hour was our first classes together.
Ooh. What was your first date?
That would be the second or the fourth hour. When we realized we were in second hour together, it was kind of weird, and we talked after class and said, hey, how's it going? And then fourth hour was our lunch hour.
Yeah, so technically our first date was lunch together.
Yeah, we went out for lunch together.
I think we probably went to Taco Bell.
I was just saying, where was the first place we went?
I think it was Taco Bell.
quick, fast, and back to
cheap.
School. Yep,
and I worked at McDonald's, so we didn't like to eat there very often.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was Taco Bell.
It probably was.
How did your parents react?
Ooh, that'd be a good one for you, maybe.
My mom and dad liked Jamie, especially after my truck broke down and Jamie took like the whole transfer case apart, because I was a great driver. That's a whole nother video.
Manual transmission in Jessica.
And apparently the drive chain wore down a hole in the transfer case. So
if you pop the clutch on a manual vehicle and shift them gears and really just hammer that gas and pop that clutch, you'll stretch all these parts out, and then they'll wear holes in things.
That never happened.
And then all the fluids just leak out.
So Jamie took the whole
then they catch on fire.
of my truck apart and fixed it. And my dad was a mechanic, so my dad was pretty impressed by that.
Yeah,
and you were always really polite with my parents. My mom and dad liked you from the start.
You know, honestly, I think
He's a nice guy.
most parents, most of my friends' parents, actually all of my friends' parents liked me.
Everybody likes you.
I don't think there was anybody that went, I don't like that guy.
Your parents.
It's probably because I'd look at the parents and go, I don't like that Karen. So, in my parents, I remember my mom. Jessica was a character, and you can always see.
I don't have my spirit hood on.
Yeah, your nice skull cap though.
I do have that.
Right. Well, when we first met, she went through a time of neon plastic belts.
Neon green is my favorite color.
Neon green, yep.
Ever.
Yep.
Ever.
And I remember my mom saying something to me one time after.
And camo.
And yep, you had the camouflage, yep. And it was a interesting contrast of
If I find
apparel.
a photo like that, I will insert it. I will look for one and insert it. I will try to find one.
Yeah. So anyway, my mom, she kind of turned her head and looked at me, and she went, "It was an interesting belt." And I went, "Oh yeah, it was definitely bright, wasn't it?"
I like to stand out in a crowd.
So
or all alone.
I think my mom. I think I remember my mom kind of being, not confused, but.
I think confused would be the right word.
It could be.
Maybe concerned, but not concerned.
Maybe.
But she loves me now, so that's all that matters.
Right. Yeah,
I won her over like I do everybody.
Right. You never did go for the greatest first impressions, and not that the greatest first impressions is.
I was always remembered though.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, there was.
My truck had a pink cap and a neon splash of crap down it, and half the paint was coming off the hood and the side of it. So it was like white and gray speckled with this I'll insert a picture of that too, with this splash of color and this pink cap.
I painted that cap red.
My car that I had before that, I had all these little tiny
After
frogs
it was pink.
that went all across the dashboard.
I was gonna mention the car in your taste, your choice of things. Well, the first time actually.
Toned down a little.
The first time I saw Jessica's bedroom. Now
I know I have a picture of that.
Right now, my mom. She was almost a military. It was you made your bed in the morning, you pulled up your sheets, you put your dirty clothes in the hamper, you brush your teeth. I mean, not all them things you did in a specific order, and as long as you did them all, everything was good. If you didn't do them all, there my mom was going, you missed, which I did miss. But so that's how we started, or that's how I started, and then I remember the first time I saw Jessica's room and all the posters. Okay, her walls were
color.
Her walls were mint green, and she had posters over. You could barely tell that the walls were mint green. Lots of Disney.
101 Dalmatians.
101 Dalmatians. Lion King. Yep.
Lion King. Love that movie.
Nirvana. You had Kurt Cobain.
Lots of Nirvana stuff.
Yeah.
It was before Christmas. I had lots. Yeah.
And then you walked into my bedroom, and I may have had a photo on the wall, and it was probably
you had a poster on the back of your door.
Oh yeah, where you could never see it, right? As long as the door was open, nobody could see the. Oh yeah.
I do. I have.
Oh, that was Preston's because I shared.
Well, we have it, Preston.
Yep. But I think we also had maybe a photo of like the little little boy with the fishing pole and the little girl and just the generic
It
photos.
was very boring.
Very boring. Very boring room. It was. I didn't spend much time in there though, so.
So that was all that mattered.
Right.
Oh gosh.
So in other words, my dad loved you from the start.
Yeah.
I mean,
Your dad reminds me of my dad though.
yes.
Do people take your relation seriously?
Did and do they?
Well, they do now because we've been together for so long, but we'll get to that in a minute. Did they take our relationship seriously?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure. Most of our friends when I met Jamie, I kind of like merged away from some of the people I was hanging out with, not all of them, but some of them, and kind of like merged more towards the people Jamie was hanging out with, because in 9th grade I had an English class with Greg and our friend Eric, who we're still friends with to this day.
Yeah.
Mike Young I knew before you, and I'm still friends with him, but I kind of like went... I had lost a close friend of mine, so I was kind of in that limbo of where do I fit now, and it kind of just worked that I kind of knew Jamie's friends, so I kind of just...
I had good friends too.
And they're still good friends.
Right.
20 years later.
Not that any of the people... There were a couple people that you... And I wouldn't even say you hung out with, but that you were associated with that aren't doing well or didn't do well.
But a couple of them,
But most of them, we still hang out with. Yeah.
You guys have seen, Dan has been in some of the videos where we've lifted the Jeeps. I've known him since high school, you know,
He's a good high school friend.
But, yeah, I would say, so I think most of our friends...
took it seriously.
Yeah, most of our friends took it seriously.
And I think
pretty much everybody does now.
Yeah, maybe that was because we took it seriously.
Yeah, and we did. We did.
I thought so.
I thought so. We must have. We're still together.
Right. Okay. Next question.
Next question! Did you ever skip school together? We never skipped school. I never, ever, ever skipped a single class. Not
Pause.
a single class.
And cut.
Until I met Jamie.
Cut. And I wasn't a bad influence.
No, you were just fun.
Right, carpe diem. It's snowing. We should go for a ride.
We took off one day.
We used to
Mom, if you're watching this, plug your ears. We took off one day. I picked Jamie up from his house, and I think we drove we didn't even drive to the school. We're like, want to go to Traverse City?
Yeah,
Sure.
I think so.
150 miles away in a vehicle that we didn't even know if it would make it or not at the time.
Yeah.
And we went. If we would have broke down, we'd have been in so much trouble.
I
would have been. You would have been grounded.
Maybe. It all depends on how the cookie crumbles, because I can swing a story in pretty much any way, depending on the situation.
If you're watching, don't listen.
Right.
Jamie never lied to you.
No, I'm totally staying the night at Greg's house tonight.
Yeah. Yep. Totally.
Well, will you be home for dinner? Nope. Skipping.
So, yes, we skipped school together.
We did graduate with honors, though.
We?
Yes, we did.
We sure did.
We sure did.
Did you have a special lunch spot? I would say it's the same place. They've seen it in the videos. We've gone there and
Under
said
the tree.
before that we would sit at Mishkivas Park and look out over the lake. We went there a lot.
Was that a willow tree?
It's a big willow tree, yeah.
Big willow, yeah.
Maybe another reason why I have a infatuation with willow trees. One day I'll have a house and I'll be able to have all the willow trees I want.
Sure.
Just not this one. Did you go to prom together?
Aww. Yes, we did. Of course we did. We had to.
I even have a photo. Look! Make sure there's no glare. We did go to prom together. And we had to borrow my mom's van because my mom said my truck was too dirty and ratty to take to prom. But we did. We went to homecoming together. We went to Winterfest together.
Yeah.
We did. Our whole senior year, pretty much every dance, we went together because we met at the beginning of senior year.
And I'm pretty sure we were interviewed at prom by our local news.
I think so. We were on TV.
And I want to say they asked us questions. And I don't remember how we answered them, but I bet they were futuristic questions. Like, do you guys see yourself together in 10 years? I'm sure we said, yeah.
Maybe we are. Right, I don't know what we said.
Unless the world ends.
I do remember that I had dyeable shoes and it rained on our prom. And I don't know how many of you guys remember.
because she was in that teal dress.
You can't see them in the picture but I had dyeable shoes and it rained and I remember I stepped in a puddle and all the dye, not only did it like come off my shoes, it got all over my feet and my socks. It was horrible. Don't buy dyeable shoes. I don't even think they're a thing anymore. But you used to be able to dye shoes to match your dress, which was kind of cool. How long did you date before getting engaged/married? We were only engaged for like 4 months.
Were we actually engaged?
We got engaged. Well, we decided we were going to get married in like June, and we got married in September. So we were really only technically engaged for like a couple months.
But we were together for 5 years?
Yep, 5 years.
Before we...
And part of that was because we moved away, and I refused to get married when we lived in Arizona. We were
still young, so I mean, we were both going to school still after high school, and
we'd moved to Arizona, and I didn't want to get married in Arizona because none of my family was out there, and we were there 2.5 years.
Right.
Last question. How long have you been married?
Married or together?
Well, we can answer both.
I was saying, let's answer both of them.
Yeah.
Married? 12?
Yay, you got it.
I was going to say, did I get it right? Okay. I was going to say, because a couple years ago it was 10, and that was important. And I don't think that was last year, and that would have made it 11, so it's got to be 12, and 13 just seems too much, so. Now, together,
18.
that's actually where I started to figure out, because I knew we were together for 18 years, because it's almost half our life. Actually,
we were together for 5 years before we got married, so.
We've been together longer than we've been apart.
Yes, now we have.
If you're, unless you're 36.
I'm not 36.
You're not 36.
No. Really? Aw.
I know, right? Aw. Is your life complete now?
Yeah, my little heart. My heart's just a fluttering now.
Oh. You didn't think about that before?
Not like that. Not till you said it.
We have been together on this earth for just as long as we were apart.
That's crazy.
And you know what?
We got a long way to go.
Let's say if we're lucky.
We got a long way to go.
We can more than double that.
We don't need luck. We got skills.
Yeah.
Skittles.
Skittles.
So there you go.
Well, no more questions.
No more questions. We're done with questions. I don't know who I'm tagging because I don't know who hasn't done it. So there'll be some links down in the video description of other people that we're going to tag to do this. It was a lot of fun. We hope you guys learned some interesting things about us that you might not have known. One of these days we'll sit down and do a question and answer where we'll let you guys ask questions, and like we did that live show the one time. One of these days we'll do that again.
We might do that, yeah.
That was fun. That's fun.
Take questions live.
And one of these days we'll do a video, who the heck is Greg? I get asked that so often. Is he your brother? Is he family?
Yes.
That's always what I say. I'm like, yeah.
If he needed a liver and I had one, he would have it.
That makes him family.
I would say that's pretty much family.
And now you guys know we've known him since at least 9th grade.
Yeah.
But no, he doesn't live here. Somebody asked me that the other day. Does Greg live here? No, Greg has his own house.
Yeah.
There's no cats here.
No, definitely no cats here. No small animals.
All right, you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Stay positive. Dream big.
Bye. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you soon.
Love you.
I love you too. This was fun. I like this one.
Yay.
Thanks for suggesting this. This was fun. I have to do more tags.
Right.
We can do the couples tag eventually.
What's couples tag?
That one you can't read the questions until we go to start the video, and then you have to answer questions about each other.
You gave me a heads up on these questions, but honestly, after you read them to me, I'm like, I know that. I don't have to think about that. I know that. So.
We might have to try that.
Yeah, it might be interesting.
All right, you guys. Bye.
What's your favorite food?
Mine?
If somebody was asking me what your favorite food was,
would you know?
Tuna. I have no idea. Not lasagna.
Not lasagna. Good answer. Good answer. What's your favorite food?
Do you know?
You'll eat anything.
Yeah, but is there a specific?
A specific thing that you would eat more than other things?
Correct. Say no and you're
Ham
right.
and pineapple.
I was say no and you're right.
I was gonna guess
there's
something.
Nothing,
I'm like, no.
There's nothing specific. No.
I was gonna say lasagna, but that's like cheap.
But that would be like one of the questions. Your favorite artist.
Yeah. What's your favorite color?
Right. Blue.
No, that's your favorite color.
Oh. Green.
Jamie doesn't have favorite colors either. He always goes, I like that. I don't like one color more than the other.
I don't look good in yellow, so I wouldn't wear yellow.
Right? You like red.
But I like the sun being
But
yellow.
you don't wear red.
I look good in red.
Yeah. Not all red.
But it's not my favorite.
No.
Imagine that. It's blue.
Look at that. That's funny. Mine's brown and blue.
Apparently so. Maybe it's if you look in your eyes. There's your hidden color.
Is that your favorite color?
Could be.
It's the color of my Jeep.
Actually, yeah, it is. Because it's not exactly blue and it's not green.
I would show you my driver's license, but my eyes are actually listed as being gray.
There, yeah.
Same color as my Jeep. Bye!
Bye.
Apparently my computer's shutting down.
Thanks for liking and subscribing to Snow Dogs Vlogs.
At least we don't have trains going by. We do have airplanes,
Right now.
occasional
There was a train
airplanes.
at 5:30 this morning, woke me up.
Right. We get tornadoes and sirens and stuff. Fog sirens.
Yes,
Wow.
we do.
Right now there's just a big jet.
It's good, whatever, it'll be in the video.
Right.